First News with Keeler in the morning on WIBX and WIBX950.com.
Are you looking at the long-term forecast? We are in for a heat wave.
Feeling hot, hot, hot.
It's temperatures in the upper 80s over the weekend.
And sunshine.
And then 90s next week.
Gotta love it.
To start off the week. So some abnormally hot weather already going on here.
I was talking to a colleague of ours here in the building earlier this morning about the two wardrobe situation you have to deal with when you get here so early. 50 in the morning and 75 at the afternoon.
Yeah. Okay, so the latest on the 16-year-old female that was shot while riding her bike on Monday, Memorial Day. Riding her bike, and it looks like she was the target of the shooting,
right? Which
is unbelievable.
Yeah. So
this is how kids are settling things these days.
Yeah, it's really a shame, and there's even another story that I guess I had missed out of Syracuse, that a teenager was accused of robbing and murdering an elderly Syracuse woman. He was 14 years old. So I don't know where this surge in violence is coming from, but with the young girl, the 16-year-old shot in Utica.
Young people.
Still no cooperation from the community. Police are still investigating, looking for a suspect. As we learned from Sergeant Mike Curley of UPD yesterday, they do believe she was the intended target of the attack. Life-saving measures were done when she was shot. She was brought to St. Elizabeth Hospital. Luckily, the surgeons there were able to successfully save her life, and she is expected to survive. But I think it's going to be a long haul for police to try to figure out who and why this happened.
It seemed at one point they said when they had a strong lead on someone who witnessed the shooting, and when they went to get information, they received resistance. No one wanted to talk. No one was willing to talk. In fact, it was kind of an unsafe situation that they had. I can't even believe it turned to that, but it did. Anyway, the word is that she is going to be okay after being shot in the chest. Is now conscious, awake, and expected to survive. That's just unbelievable.
It's really just sad is what it is. There's no other word for it, that it's come to this.
It's come to this when it comes to getting the vaccine. It seems that we as Americans need some sort of an incentive, not just enough having an incentive that you will be, 70 to 95% resistant from the disease or somewhere in that range, but whether it's lottery tickets or chance to win $1 million. There's
free vacation.
There's incentive all over the place, including in West Virginia. In West Virginia, they've joined the growing list of states creating lotteries to encourage people to get vaccinated. Governor Jim Justice announced that the state will be giving away guns, trucks, and cash on Father's Day for people who are vaccinated. Here is audio.
On Father's Day, we're also going to give away 2 brand new custom outfitted trucks. We're going to give 5 custom hunting rifles and 5 custom hunting shotguns away. And also on Father's Day, we're going to make one of you a millionaire.
All right.
To top it all off.
Well, there you go.
If the gun wasn't enough.
And you say life is not different in places like West Virginia.
I got to say, in New York, one of the things, and I think this is one incentive.
In New York, if you get the vaccine, they come and take away your gun.
Yes, right. That's exactly right. No, but I think one of the incentives that is good for anybody who's been vaccinated, if you show proof of the vaccine and the Excelsior Pass is being used, you'll get your opening day to Saratoga for free. Saratoga Racetrack.
Okay, that's cool. Coming up, we'll talk to Tony Powers on the CDC's recommendations, latest, but it involves a special warning about the sunshine, and we'll get that explained coming up. Also, Hobika, questioning how we give away the free money, wants to be in studio to observe, wants to be the first official person. You know, Ricky Z came in, it was a mistake, and he made his way in studio, had been vaccinated. Hobike has been vaccinated. What do you think, Andrew? He wants to come in to observe.
Well, if it's to talk about the lawsuit that is going on and the appellate court decision, sure, we could let him in studio. But if he's going to criticize our giving away of his money, you know, he can stay by the window.
That's along with Dr. Hall we'll have on this morning, and Ryan Nobles from CNN. Tanya J. Powers standing by right now from Fox News. Tanya, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
So the CDC is making some recommendations. Is this COVID or is this sunshine? What's
no,
going
it is
on?
not. It is not COVID.
Yeah.
You mean the CDC looks over other stuff too?
I thought it was the COVID department of whatever.
Yeah.
Amazingly, yes, there are many things that they oversee, and this is one of the things that, back in normal times, if you can think back to 2019 and before. There would always be these stories, of course, at the beginning of summer, and now that we've just passed Memorial Day, and the unofficial start to summer, the CDC is like, hey, don't forget, you're going to be outside, protect your skin.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of, saying, okay, again, reacquaint yourself with the fact that you're going to need, sunscreen for, to protect yourself from the UV rays. Which, by the way, is a thing all year long, not just in summer. A lot of that's a lot of. I won't just say women, because I know some guys use moisturizer too. But sometimes when you're shopping around for face products and some stuff like that, you'll see UV protects UV up to blah 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 whatever, and so they put that in there, in facial products, not just sunscreen products. But they've got the whole section on their website that's talk about how to protect your skin from the sun. Are you guys the kinds of guys who do the whole hat, sunglasses, long sleeves if you're going to be outside for working in the yard or anything?
No, I like to burn, and then it's just a nice tan the rest of the way. You get that one good burn out of the way.
I do put the sunscreen on because I have so much hair. That's the problem.
I do
on my scalp.
I do a lot of sunscreen, yeah.
I have a perpetual sweater that I wear.
You can get it is true that in the wintertime, I've had situations where I have been out in the sun in the winter and have gotten a little bit of a sunburn. Or riding in the car, you're riding in the car on a sunny day in the wintertime. On a long trip, you'll get the potential of a sunburn.
Saturday, when it was like cloudy and very windy, we had that little cookout. People got sunburned.
Yeah.
Well, the sun really wasn't even out.
Are they saying that the sun is more dangerous because of, I don't know, the lack of ozone or whatever?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
They're basically, it's just kind of a blanket reminder of, hey, remember your sunscreen, your sun safety, because it is getting warmer. We're going to be out more. Thankfully, this year you're not going to you're not going to have that weird, mask. Sunburn. If that was a thing for you last year, you won't have to deal with that this year. And they do remind people that skin cancer is the most common cancer in the U.S., which is, one of those things that I think a lot of people may just sort of overlook. I mean, we're always talking about like breast cancer and heart disease, and those are obviously, big, risk factors as well. I mean, big things. But skin cancer is the most common cancer in the U.S., so don't forget about that. Go see your dermatologist, get a checkup, make sure everything's good. Especially if there's, anything that you see that you're like, I'm not sure about that, go get it checked out. But yeah, it's thankfully I'm tickled to death to be just able to do stories on sun safety again. Where it's.
You're right. Something. It's like every story is COVID related, and finally you can report on something that isn't COVID related. And by the way, it includes the sunshine and being outdoors. I like it too. So.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm pretty pumped about that.
I'm happy. Tanya, thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Sure.
Have a wonderful day. Tanya J. Powers from Fox News. With sunshine on a Wednesday morning. In Syracuse, a nursing home there has agreed to pay a $10,000 fine to settle charges that had failed to protect a resident from a physically abusive employee.
Oh, wow.
The action against the Bishop Rehabilitation and Nursing Center on James Street recently posted on the State Health Department's website. And apparently back on November 25th of 2019, it was a 90-year-old woman was slapped in the face with a wet cloth, bruising her, according to the complaint. The employee, Kenya Williams, who's 30 years old of Syracuse, was charged with endangering the welfare of an incompetent or physically disabled person in the second degree.
What's the matter with people?
I guess she was being annoying or something. So she hit her in the face.
Well, that'll teach her.
Well, but as I said, the nursing home has now been fined $10,000 for that infraction. So there you have that. What else here this morning? We mentioned the young lady who was shot in the chest. She is going to be okay. Hard to believe, right? Mm-hmm. Which is a good ending to the story. In today's OD, there's a story about the band Showtime, and a couple of members have left the band. This is a long-time band, mm-hmm. one of the more popular bands in the area. But they are carrying on with three members, and we'll speak with them coming up down the road here. But three original members are remaining in the band, and they've added a few more to the mix. If you recall, at Showtime, the band, they had a thing with the network Showtime because they couldn't call themselves Showtime because of
like trademark issues.
Because of trademark issues with the network Showtime.
So how did that get resolved?
They became Showtime the band. I believe that's how it all worked out. But Joe Rossi and Jerry Crimmins, two longtime members of the band. Joe Rossi, one of the original members of the band when they were just kids, have decided to leave the band. Also, Mike Morrow taking some time away from the band. All longtime members of that band. They played at my wife and I at our wedding back many years ago, a long time ago.
They always put on a good show.
And we also Classified, right? That's a band that's been around for years, and they have retired. Showtime will continue with new members, but Classified is currently on pause. Our good friend Greeley Ford involved with that legendary band as well. A 7-year-old boy swam an hour to shore to get help, saving his sister and father after they got stuck in a strong current in St. Johns River in Florida. We've talked about this. This was a river, but if you get caught in a current, it can be you can just become so tired you can't get out. And this kid swam for an hour to get help. There is, let's see, I don't know who this is. This may be the father talking about the ordeal of exactly what went on.
The current was so strong that my sister, she usually...
This is the boy.
The back of the boat, and she let go. So I let go of the boat, and I grabbed her, and then I was stuck.
I told them both I loved them because I wasn't sure what was going to happen. Wow. I tried to stick with her as long as I could. I wore myself out, and she drifted away from me. We're here. By the grace of God, we're here.
Wow. Pretty scary moment right there.
Oh, yeah.
Pennsylvania High School was evacuated because of what they thought was a bobcat roaming the hallway. Turns out it was just a cat, a house cat roaming the hallway. You ever see some of these cats can be large?
Yeah.
Pretty large.
To be confused with a bobcat, though?
Well, I think people get paranoid.
I think Bill and Robin, remember Bill, they had
an enormous cat. From
huge.
River Hills, yeah.
Like, I was surprised.
That I thought was a lion or a tiger or maybe a bear. The cat's been returned to its owners. It was roaming the hallway. Here's the superintendent and animal control talking about what went down.
I don't think anyone would have predicted this, of course, but again, our staff and students did a wonderful job not reacting, just making sure that they quietly got out of the building, and now we will let the professionals do their job.
Looks, identical. The colors of a bobcat, missing a tail, so err on the side of caution. We want to make sure all the students are safe and the staff are safe.
That was another thing, too. I was going to say, isn't the tail kind of a giveaway?
Right. One would think. Did you know that we were mentioning in order to get people to vaccinate in West Virginia, they have to give away trucks, guns, and cash. Did you know that also nearly half of Americans believe that dinosaurs still exist and roam the planet?
Huh.
A new survey shows that nearly half of Americans believe that dinosaurs still exist in some remote corner of the world today. To add to that, 20% of the people think they went extinct only 100 years ago. Crazy, right? And Vince Neil put on his first post-pandemic show, and it was a God-blessed train wreck. Rocker Vince Neil on Memorial Day weekend played a festival in Iowa and ended the show early after it got so bad his voice gave out. He wasn't used to singing. He struggled through 14 songs before saying he was done, and he called it quits. Okay, that just sounds terrible. I can't even listen to it.
That's rough.
Disney.
That was one of his good songs.
That was one of the positives. That's one of the ones they let out. Disney want to get a free T-shirt at Disney World, according to Amanda DeMeo. Just wear clothing that is deemed inappropriate by Disney. Andrew, you work there. Is there anything, any truth to this?
I'm not from a cast member standpoint, obviously, but I don't know.
There is a thing that goes around about Disney and women in white shirts without bras, and then the rain comes. It becomes a gigantic.
I got to
wet
tell you,
T-shirt.
during my time there, I never saw any problem with that.
Yeah, I'm sure you didn't.
This is for spectators or employees?
In this case, these are park guests. And it's this woman claims that if you go in and you are too revealing, they will give you a free shirt a free Disney shirt to cover up. I'm not sure you want to try that.
Disney hack. If you're wearing a shirt that shows a little under boob, they'll write you a ticket when you first enter Magic Kingdom, so you can get a free shirt at the nearest gift shop. I just got a $75 T-shirt just because I was wearing a shirt that was exposing my under boob a little bit. So yeah, if you want free Disney shirts, that's the hack.
So walk around like a you-know-what, and you'll get a free shirt. Apparently, that's...
the cleavage and upper boob is okay. The under boob.
And then one more.
$75 for a T-shirt, by the way.
One more. You may have seen this viral video, which has been all over the web, of a Southern California teen pushing a large brown bear off a wall in her backyard. The bear had grabbed her dog, but let go after she shoved it over the wall. So, people and their dogs, they take this very seriously. Here she is talking about exactly what happened. The bear cubs were walking on the wall, making the dogs bark, so animal experts believe the bear was simply protecting her cubs. And this is what she did.
Direct eye contact. I mean, we were in each other's faces. The dog that the bear grabbed, she's the baby. I have to protect the baby. I sprint towards her, and in that split second, I decide to push the bear. Like it was nothing, apparently. And when I push the bear, she falls back. And that's when the dog she grabbed runs away. And I pick up my other dog and I scram.
And she scrammed and ended up saving her dog. Really, I think what the mother bear probably just wanted was a distraction to get everybody away from the cubs, right? And maybe that's why she was able to get through it all.
Interestingly, she was telling the story, present tense? So I decide I'm going to fall back and then charge the bear.
Past and present going on in that. And
then I scrammed.
And then at the French Open, Naomi Osaka, that story.
So what's the story?
Well, she came out apparently and did she walk away? She walked away out of the French Open because she was having emotional issues, I believe. Okay. And I believe it was quite critical. She was quite critical. Venus Williams shared her secret to dealing with the media, and it was because of impolite members of the media, is what she had said. Yesterday, Venus Williams came out on the topic of the media.
For me personally, how I deal with it was that I know every single person asking me a question can't play as well as I can and never will. So no matter what you say or what you write, you'll never light a candle to me. So that's how I deal with it. But each person deals with it differently.
I think that's probably a pretty good way of dealing with it.
And listen, we love to do this. We love to mash up our cliches. You'll never hold a candle to me, not light a candle to me. Don't you light a candle to somebody when you want to do a remembrance for them?
That is true.
But you can't hold a candle to me means...
Maybe it was one of those helium lanterns that goes up into the
Don't light my candles!
Into the air. All right, hold on. Rachel Sutherland coming up. Another hack occurring. And this time it may affect the price not of your gasoline, but it may affect the price of the meat you consume. And we'll get to that story coming up with Rachel at 6:37. 53 degrees right now. A really, really nice day. Again, on the way at 6:37.
First News with Keeler in the morning on WIBX.
Flying on the airlines and listening to the airline's announcements. Whole thing starts when you get to the gate. First announcement. We would like to begin the boarding process. Extra word, process. Not necessary. Boarding is enough. We'd like to begin the boarding. Simple. Tells the story. People add extra words when they want things to sound more important than they really are. Boarding process. Sounds important. It isn't. It's just a bunch of people getting on an airplane. People like to sound important. Weathermen on television talk about shower activity. Sounds more important than showers. I even heard one guy on CNN talk about a rain event. Swear to God, he said, Louisiana's expecting a rain event. I thought, hope I can get tickets to that.
Very funny. Monaski, you're caught up in the middle of it. Enough.
Sorry, I'm caught up there.
I played that for you because of your word enjoyment. You seem to very much be caught up on words today. So.
I love when people do that.
All right, it is 6:40. Standing by right now is Rachel Sutherland from Fox News, and yet another hacking out there, another cyber attack. Only this time it may cost you when it comes to the meat that you consume.
I don't buy this, that this is costing us money now.
Well, we'll see. Rachel, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Well, I haven't personally seen a run on meat at the grocery store, but I have to admit, I haven't really been out there. Look, JBS is the world's largest meat producer, says they expect to have most of their plants fully operational today. This is a cyber attack, a ransomware attack, another one just a few weeks after the Colonial Pipeline attack, and it did bring down, I believe, all of the beef processing plants in the United States for a day or so. Also in Canada, it was affected Australia. I didn't know this was such a large company. It exports to some 50 nations.
Wow. Interestingly, it's funny because I thought we were going to see a big meat shortage and a run on meat during the pandemic, especially with the shutdown. And we really didn't. But there were a lot of people going around. We actually had somebody come here, if you recall, at the studio, and they were selling. It was farm grown, which I guess everything is, right? But they were selling chicken and beef, and you could buy big steaks.
Buy in bulk, yeah.
And it was all in bulk and wholesale. It became kind of a big thing. This would not affect that, of course, but you got to be this. If the government can't prevent, for instance, in that pipeline situation, if the government can't protect this hacking from going on, how are companies going to do it?
Well, that is the problem, because you have the public and private sector, right?
Right.
The government has been calling on private companies to let them know that it's good. The FBI and CISA is investigating the attack. But if it's not government-run, then how does the government control all of this?
Yeah.
White House officials saying that they believe that this is a group in Russia, not necessarily the Russian government, but again, Russia may be harboring these types of groups, like the one that was behind the Colonial Pipeline attack. We don't think it's the same one. But the question is there a retaliatory response? Who do you target? What do you do? And this just comes ahead of President Biden's meeting with President Putin here in just a couple of weeks.
So the question is going to be, will this ultimately end up causing a bit of a shortage for a short period of time and ultimately an increase in prices? And as Monaski says, he doesn't believe it, in part because sometimes I think they use this stuff as an excuse.
Well, it's hard to really determine whether or not they do or
Right.
not. I mean, there's some anecdotal reports that restaurants are charging more for beef entrees, but it's hard. Now, if this company, if JBS was brought down for, say, a week to that, then maybe we could see something like that. But the fact that the good news is they're looking to get back
For just a couple of days. And I got to tell you, sadly, what's going on is they end up paying up. There's no way out. There's no way to get out of this, so they end up paying up to get their software back and to get their computers back.
Right, and again, there's been no clear guidance from the government whether or not they should do that.
Right.
You can understand why they would, and maybe $5 million isn't a whole lot to a gigantic meat producer, but it would encourage other groups to keep on doing it.
Yeah.
Now, we had a hack here where somebody, I don't know if it was Russia or China, but they hacked the signal, the audio signal.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to raise our AM radio subscription fees. We tripled the rate.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
really
it happens.
Very expensive.
It happens. So.
All right, Rachel, thank you. We appreciate it. And companies do this all over. We all have training sessions we have to do, and they try to trick you to teach you what you should click onto and what you shouldn't. Companies are trying to survive this whole thing. Rachel, thanks so much. We appreciate it. I think we lost her anyway, so. Because I think she was buying your line about the AM radio.
She was going to investigate that.
Yeah, but all of a sudden that pipeline came back on, so ultimately the gas flowed again, the oil flowed again, yet prices still went up. So they haven't gone down, right?
You know what I find interesting is everything was go online, everything on the computer. It makes it easier. It's more convenient. You can control anything, yada, yada, yada. The part they left out is like you can be held hostage because anybody can hack in and control everything that you do via the internet and on a computer. So I'm not saying the internet's a bad thing or something like that, but, okay, so we had the gas. We had meat. Now, what's the next thing that's going to happen?
Well, when you have everything, when everything is on the grid and everything is on the grid, you are suspect to the potential that this stuff can happen. The scary part is it seems to be happening more often than I feel anybody would feel comfortable with. Right?
Somebody was saying not too many years ago that like the next world war will be fought over like what you referred to as the grid, where it's like basically you just can go in and shut down things on a country. You don't have to shoot anybody.
Right.
You don't have to blow anything up. You just shut down their, quote, grid. Anyway, go ahead.
The site SafeWise has put out a listing of the 100 safest cities in America. And are you ready for the news?
Yeah.
Utica-Rome are not on the they're not on the list. But I think Cicero, New York, out near Syracuse. The top 10 safest cities in America: Hopkinton in Massachusetts, Franklin, Mass, Buckingham Township, Pennsylvania, Oakland Township, Michigan, Bernards, New Jersey, Ridgefield, Connecticut, Newcastletown, New York, Sparta Township in New York, Hamburg Township, Michigan, and Bedfordtown, also in New York. The safest cities in America seem to be in the Northeast. Surprising.
Well, that's because the population is so small. Nobody's there to hurt you.
That might be the case.
No, I'm just kidding. But so an odd question on this: for instance, what's a local town? Give me a local town. The town of Steuben. Okay, let's say Steuben. Would Steuben, if they appeared on this list, would they be Steuben Township?
Yeah, these are all very small areas. But Cicero, New York, is probably not, and it's in I believe the top 50 of the safest. If you recall, a few years back, the same site had listed the village of Herkimer as one of the most unsafe places in the country, and that was I don't know. It took a couple of years of crime, and all of a sudden it became what they called the most, and it might even have been a real estate company that did that based on housing prices and that sort of thing. Last night, the New York Mets losing, the Yankees win. Right? Mm-hmm. Is that right?
Yeah. I think it's because Jeff had to make a smart comment about the Yankees Mets struggling yesterday.
These games with the Mets just way too late. The game, they don't start. It's out in Arizona. They don't start until like 9:40 is first pitch. Although today I think they might play an afternoon affair. The New York Mets. 6:48. Andrew updates the news coming up top of the hour. A nice day on the way today with partly sunny skies, with some increase of clouds. We might get a little shower or two later on, but we'll be up into the mid to upper 70s. Currently 53 at WIBX.
Looks like you need a vacation. Enter the 5-Hour Energy Where Will the Tide Take You sweepstakes. You could win a $10,000 dream beach vacation. Imagine jet setting off to a tropical paradise, having fun in the sun, or diving at a gorgeous reef. It's up to you. No purchase necessary. Go to 5HETide.com for official rules and to enter. That's 5HETide.com. Enter today. Ends June 30th, 2024.